What's up, you little rascal? This is Jason Goldwatch. Listen to verbally shenanigan, the verbal Hey, little rascal. You're listening to verbal shenanigans right now on verbalshenanigans.juke.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to the Verbal Shenanigans podcast. I would like to announce that when we were doing our pre-planning meeting, which is generally 14 seconds before the show, like usually we have some talking points or maybe a game, that Mike announced that he may have something tonight, but he's not sure if it's going to be ready. So
it's going through my head right now. That's the thing. So if you tell me to say it, it's like there is no answer, and then we move on to the next subject. That's the problem.
So it's kind of buffering.
I had a plan for tonight for something. Life took over. So I have the concept in my head, but it's not fully grasped out, if you will. So
at some point you could be like, it's come to me. Hold on. Slow the train. I'm ready. So
yeah, I missed your question because my dog just kicked out my headset. But
oh God, he's definitely going to kick out your thought process too on the bit.
Callie, Daddy is trying to be comical tonight. Okay, what's wrong with you?
No, I said. So you're telling us at some point during the cast you might be like, hold on, stop.
Yeah,
it's ready.
Scott, I know Barack Obama is on, but I just figured out something.
I also don't love the fact that like we're going to be chatting, and in the back of your head, you're processing some amazing thing that you have on the back burner.
Oh yeah. I'll be like that. That was a great story, Scott. And you're like, but my uncle died. I'm like, well, it was great that you got an ending.
Ironically, my uncle, well, we called him my uncle, did die this week, but that's
spoilers, damn it.
Yep. But anyway, welcome to the show. What are we? We're kind of like in an off week. We missed one, but maybe we'll put this out earlier. If you are just tuning in, the kind of concept of the show is that every week we kind of talk a bunch of nonsense about our lives, play some stupid games, and then every week we have a really interesting guest. And I think we revealed a couple episodes ago that we've gone, I don't know, like 5 years without an episode, without a guest, other than our quirky little show. So today's episode is no different, but we'll get to him shortly. Mike, the other day you claimed that you fell down the stairs, took a nice tumble, it busted yourself up a little bit. Apparently this week was my turn.
Ooh,
yes.
Ball buddies, yay.
Yes.
Well, wait a minute. I took stairs from you about a year ago. What the hell?
Oh, we're supposed to live that draft. So you've been living.
When we do the inconvenience draft, I expect those things to occur, young man.
Be great if I come visit you and you have no knobs on your on anything, and I'm like,
come in. How?
You took that really seriously, man. You're like a method actor. You're the Daniel Day-Lewis of podcasting.
I demand you to call me Mr. President during this podcast. You're starting to come back.
I want the world to know.
And I can hear you now. Your video went.
I'm coming, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was.
Is that why you turned off the camera?
Yeah, I don't want you to see that. I don't want you to see that.
Oh.
Yeah, you're like the Daniel Day-Lewis of podcasting. Like, we played a bit for those of you who have no clue what we're talking about, where we would take away things from each other and see who had the worst outcome. I took all knobs away from Mike. So his cabinets, his doors, anything, no knobs. But apparently he's been living knobless for probably 2 years.
Yeah, easily, man. I mean, I took that with a grain of maturity and said, I made the deal. I'm going to live it. But clearly,
Let's back up for a second. A grain of maturity.
yeah, just a grain. Not full maturity, not a full bowl of grains of maturity, just one grain of maturity.
We are 6.5 minutes in the podcast. We have now learned that you might have a bit coming up if it comes to you. And usually you always have like at least one gem per week. And now we've already been presented with a grain of maturity, which should be the
there you
name
go.
of this episode. A grain, there's no such thing as a grain of maturity. A grain of salt is a thing that we use as a metaphor for, take it in stride. Where are you getting your maturity grains from?
Well, I just figure I look at the most mature people in the world, and I would assume it would be a big bowl of something, and a grandeur of these grains would represent maturity at best.
A
for the most mature
grandeur
people.
of grains? You're
Yeah.
you're going.
I'm going
spiraling.
deeper in, Scott. I don't care. English does not have to be a real language to me. Okay, I will speak whatever I feel.
Guys, this is the week that Mike had a stroke on the air, as he goes to a grandeur. Wow, you've thrown me completely off with your master's of the English, your master's degree of the English language.
You thought you were going to talk about some fall, but nope.
Yeah,
I had my English coming
who
out.
cares about my fall when you're just giving us grains of maturity?
Exactly. Great band name, by the way.
It's not bad. Yeah. So a couple years ago, you might remember I busted my ankle real bad, like extremely bad, playing volleyball, to the fact where it basically took a year to like recover, and it's still, even in like storms and stuff like that, it swells, and it's not the best, but it does work. So this time, like, that was a cool story, whatever. Not a cool story, but like, people get it, right? I'm playing volleyball. It's kind of, I'm doing something active, injuries happen. This time, I was just outside picking up dog shit, putting it in a bag. And usually in the winter, sometimes I got to let it go longer because sometimes it will snow and it's hidden. Like, I can't find it, if I don't go grab it right away.
That sounds like a great Easter egg during the winter contest.
For my son? Yeah.
Come on, Shay. Find it. Ooh, you got a big one. Easter Bunny's going to be happy with you.
It is funny because he will identify the poops for me. He'll be like, there's a poop, there's a poop, there's a poop. But all I was doing was picking up poop, and I step off this little ledge I have, and I catch like a tree root, and I go down like a sack of potatoes, and I heard like a snap, like a
ooh,
and I'm like, oh boy, and like pain, instantly, and I'm on the ground writhing around like, like hurt, like. To a point where my wife opens the window to look out the backyard. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm hurt. And she's like, oh God. She's like, you're not allowed to get hurt. Like, so I have to like hobble my way, like basically on my butt back up the stairs to get into my house. And so I'm trying to keep my foot up, and she's like, you really should go get an x-ray. Because at that point, it felt as if maybe there's a chance this thing is broken, because I could not put any weight on the ankle. So, and I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to, a lot of things, but my health, I'm very stubborn with.
Yeah. Like on the scale of 1 to 10, what kind of pain level are we talking about right now?
In the beginning of the incident, like a solid 8 to 9. It was pretty bad, man. It was hurting really bad. Now I have done these ankles before. I've damaged these ankles before, and it felt at the time very similar to those. And I was like, here we go again,
Yeah. Scotty ankles at it again this year.
Yeah. And I didn't like the fact that I heard like a snapping sound. Now, the last time I did it, I thought I snapped my leg in half and I didn't. So I wasn't in like pure panic mode. So I was just like, and it was my wife's birthday, by the way, which is also a little fat. We were supposed to go out to dinner and I'm sitting here blowing my ankle out during the dog shit pickup.
Selfish Scotty, picking up turds, breaking ankles when he should be thinking about his wife. Good job as always.
Yeah. What a guy just has to go pick up poop and break his ankle. Like, only thinks of himself.
I came here to pick up poop and break ankles, and I'm all out of poop.
Yeah. So she's like, you should really go get an x-ray. And I'm like, all right. Because it's not even the x-ray part. You're just thinking like the ER part. I'm going to be there for hours, blah, 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 like. So I go to I'm like, how about the urgent care? Because I went there for my hornet sting attack this year. I'm doing pretty good this year, like in a calendar year anyway. I was attacked by hornets, and if you remember, I had the poison ivy that I actually had to go to the urgent care for because it was so bad.
Well, we took care of the hornet problem. We took care of that at Christmas, so I don't want to hear anything next year, okay?
So you think those beekeeper hats that you gave me, I'm just wearing them at all times, like
24/7. Yeah. You're sleeping in it, it's like those mosquito nets in Africa that you sleep under.
Okay. Maybe I'll step my game up as the spring comes around.
Hey, you can't leave the bed as is with that cracked ankle, so you might as well start practicing.
That's a good image of me with my ankle on ice with a beekeeper hat on.
I should have had one on my ankle, then it would have been safe.
So I'm like, okay. So we go to the urgent care, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, the x-ray tech, we don't do that on Saturdays and Sundays or something like that. What kind of urgent care has selective x-ray days, first off? I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it's not that urgent on weekends, that's the relaxed emergency days there, okay? Yeah. It's like we'd love to really help your broken arm, but it's Boxing Day, and we really celebrate that. So no X-rays on Boxing Day, okay?
So we're like, okay, I guess we'll go to Morristown Hospital, and I'm like, here comes a 3-hour, 3-hour thing, and already like in the car, I'm kind of feeling like I don't think this is a break. I think this is a sprain. But anyway,
are you driving, by the way?
I am not driving. My wife is driving. We dropped my son off at my brother's house for a little bit. And it's funny because she's like, you have crutches from the last one. I'm like, I don't know where the crutches are. And we moved since the last time. So I'm like, I have no idea where the crutch. So I go in the garage and I find an old, dirty crutch. I'm like, there is one, but it's like covered. My garage is kind of leaky, and it's covered in like dirt and kind of mold. And I have this old crutch in my one crutch.
We saved your ankle, but your armpits have flesh-eating virus, sir. We apologize.
It's weird because we heard your co-host had that from the gym,
Yeah, they had to burn off my armpit, so that way it didn't stink anymore. But continue.
So I go to the ER, and I'm feeling okay. I'm like, and we walk in. There's like no one in there. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna get through this magically with no like 3-hour wait. And they do take me right in, and I go in, and they put me in the area where there's like a lot of beds and just like curtains in between the beds, and the person across from us is just yapping, and you could tell she's young. And she is just saying the most ignorant things ever. She's yapping on the phone to someone. She's like, yeah. Now, usually you're in the ER, you're kind of more on the quiet side, right? You're kind of just like talking to the person you're with and being quiet. She is straight up on the phone, just like, yeah, I'm up in the hospital and I don't know. I'm bleeding a lot. And then she's like, yeah, I don't know. I got this kid on the way. She's like, I'm pregnant. And like that's my next generation. So I don't know. Maybe I should start to find out who the baby's daddy is because this is the next generation. This is my DNA. And I'm like, okay, so immediately I'm
Yeah.
listening. Like I am
It's
just
almost beat poetry the way you're talking. And
sure.
I got this kid and I bleed, but I know the next generation coming.
Yeah.
Get that DNA.
And she's just going on, and it's getting even more like personal as she's yapping out loud at volume. Now, Mike, you're a loud guy. She's like at volume like 8 out of 10. She's really like just throwing it out there. All of a sudden, she goes, "Yeah, they told me maybe I got a UTI, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna get an abortion. I don't really know, but first I gotta find out if these STD tests come out clean." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, lady. And then she's saying more things. She goes, you know, I'm 25 years old. That is halfway to 30. And I'm like, nope, wrong again, man. Wrong. Like, and she,
The next generation worries about math,
yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
I might have gonorrhea, okay? Next generation.
And oh my God. And she's just like, I need a doctor's note for work. I need to get that doctor's note for work today. And the guy's like, okay, we can give you a note. And she's like, and there's another guy with him, like an very older gentleman. And he's just like, yep, absolutely. Need that doctor's note. Need that doctor's note. And she's like, and then again, she would randomly be like, did the STD test come back? Like echoing through the whole, like,
Listen, my job won't let me come back if I got the herpes. So you got right on that doctor's note. Excuse me for being late and having herpes. I know I lost a half an hour, so at $30 an hour, I'm only getting 25. Continue.
like if I was getting tested for STDs, I would probably be like, hey, her nurse, like, hey, did did tests come back? Like, is it clear? She is like screaming it through the hallways on the phone, and then she's like, I'm hungry as shit. Like, I am hungry as shit. And
That's what the crabs do. The crabs make you want to eat crabs, okay? That's how it works. Next generation.
And I'm not even like thinking about my ankle at this point. Like, because when I sat down, it wasn't hurting. It was only when I was standing up, like I could barely walk. So they take me to the X-ray thing, and they're like, "You want a wheelchair?" And I'm like, "All right." There is nothing more. I don't know, like a moment that makes you feel like a debilitated human until you enter a wheelchair. Like, I don't know if you had to because I was walking in, and they're like, "Sir, you want a wheelchair?" I'm like, "No, I don't want a wheelchair." And I'm like, "Test me for STD." No,
I'll take a wheelchair. Those STDs could be affecting my legs because I do stuff in the sex with my legs. Okay.
But then I was like, "Where's the X-ray room?" They're like, "All the way down the hall and to the left." I'm like, "All right, I'll take the wheelchair." And she's like wheeling me in, and I get the X-ray, and I knew at that point, like I could just tell my body, like, okay, I know it's a sprain. It's a sprain. So short thing, they come back and they're like, "Good news, just a sprain." I'm like, "Oh, that's what I figured. Thank you." And it was, it was more like I should have got it checked out, and it's okay, like. But then they're like, "Do you want a splint or a brace?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take a brace. I used to have one for my old ankle. I'm not sure what it is, but I'll take a brace." Shit, like 30 minutes go by, 40 minutes go by, hour goes by. And I'm like losing my mind because like here I am feeling bad that it's my wife's birthday. We're supposed to go out to dinner. And I'm okay enough to go to dinner. I'm just like, I'll limp in the place. It's fine. And I'm like, I'm losing it. She's like, you got to calm down. I'm like, I don't care about the splint. I don't care. Let's just go to dinner. Let's go get the Chinese food you like. There's a Chinese place we go to every year for her birthday. She's like, and I'm eventually like, just tell them I don't care. Take your splint. And eventually, like, basically almost an hour and a half comes by, and they're literally like, they kept telling me like, oh, they're gonna get the right splint for you or whatever, and they just come back with like a normal Velcro like
Yeah.
air cat like splint, and they're like, we went all over the hospital for this. I'm like, I could have left without this. Like, I did not need, or I could have got this at the CVS.
Yeah.
But
Walgreens
yeah,
probably sells the same thing.
yeah. And I'm just like, really? So like, it did end up probably being about 3 hours. Um, and it's funny because I started feeling like better. So we go to the Chinese restaurant and I'm sitting down. And then all of a sudden, like as I'm sitting down, like as the food's taking a little while to come out, and I just feel like the throbbing in my ankle. I'm like, oh my God. Like I couldn't even like stand it anymore. And then of course, like I ordered a dish. I usually get spicy from like a normal Chinese place. This was more of like a nicer Chinese food restaurant, like not your average like takeout place.
Northern China,
Yeah.
where the good.
Yeah.
We know we don't talk about them Southern Chinese people. You hear me? If you're Hong Kongian, don't listen to this show, okay?
Do you say Hong Kongian?
I believe that's the term.
Here we go. We are racking them up today. Hong Kongian.
Yep, that's what the people of Hong Kong are called.
Do they have grains of maturity over in Hong Kong, or is it
It depends on. I mean, they're in southern China, so of course they're nowhere comparison to the northern Chinese that we all adhere and love. So
a deer?
yeah,
Dude, are you smelling burnt toast today? Like are you
what comes out, I just
you-
let it go. That's all I care about.
a door? Was that what you were trying to say?
Well, I'm not allowed to have knobs anymore, so I don't like to talk about doors.
So it is throbbing, and by the time I get out of that restaurant, I'm like, oh my God. Like, and my house is like like there's 25 steps to get up the house. Like we live kind of on a hill. And yeah, it was just brutal. And then the next day I felt fine. And then today I feel terrible, which is ironic. Like my foot is all purple and banged up. But yeah, the emergency room is always a very interesting place. I told you about my real quick before we get to our guest, our emergency room trip in Ireland.
I'm not sure if he did. You might as well copy it if you.
Yeah. So I when I was 22, my last year of college, I did a study abroad in London. And one weekend we decided to go to Ireland, go for 3 days, which is over there. It's like a 30-minute flight or something like that. Scariest flight of my entire life. This little like 70s plane, little two-seater like thing, like puddle jumper. We're going and they're like, there's going to be a bit of turbulence, and like literally the lights are flickering, and like everyone on the plane's going, oh, 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 like for 30 minutes straight, because the turbulence was so bad. But besides the point, we went with this
That's
guy.
how I got the gonorrhea. I was on that flight.
Ironically, the guy I went with, his name was Nate. I didn't really know him. I met him on this trip, and years later, he was the one who got me my mattress modeling gig a couple years ago.
Who can forget?
Yeah. So, yes, I did. I did do mattress modeling. I could prove it. He had like bad asthma, and it was getting worse and worse and worse as we entered Ireland. And like after a day, he was like he could barely talk. I'm like, dude, we got to take you to the emergency room. And I guess in Ireland, like, healthcare is free, and so all the bums in Ireland just come to the emergency room for like, it's warm in there. So they might say like, I have my arm hurts, but they could hang out in the warm emergency room for an hour, Um, so the whole time they're just talking my ear off, like 50 drunk guys in the emergency room, just like, like all these drunk Conor McGregor accents coming at me like lightning speed. They're like, and I'm like, yeah. And then they also told me, don't go to the right of the emergency room because that's all owned by the Russian mob. So here I am with my friend getting like just assaulted by Irish bums, And they're like, because I had to wait. They wouldn't let me in the emergency room with him at the time. And they're just all coming up to me like I was the king of the emergency room, or probably the guy they wanted to mug and take my sweet American money.
It would be great if like you started walking and they screamed at you, not your right, my right, and then you just got kidnapped by the Russian mob.
Yeah, I'd probably at least have better stories to tell. Bert Kreischer made a career out of that. So
yeah, look what it could have been, Scott. But no, you had to go to the emergency room with no X-rays and hear about gonorrhea, woman.
but anyway, I'm okay. I could tell by Mike's face during my story that he was working on the bit. And he's smiling now. He's smiling now because this is how well I know this guy. And he was creating and tuning out at the same time.
Both. Yeah.
And then contributing every once in a while. I mean, we might as well get this thing he's going to talk about out after the guest, because the way he's talking tonight, it sounds like it might be his last hurrah.
Lava deers and grains of maturity.
Episode 464 could be the end. We might not make it to 400. So,
that's how it works. The number goes up.
Shit. That would be, dude, that actually might be a great concept for a podcast. Count backwards, like where it's got to get better. You know, we're only doing 500 episodes. So this is the last one. But let's get to our guest. Mike, who we got?
Tonight, Scott, we are talking with music video director Jason Goldwatch. He has worked with some of the biggest names in the music industry. He's worked with Linkin Park, Jay-Z, Busta Rhymes, Cypress Hill, and that is just a tip of the iceberg right there. He has done some incredible work, some magical music videos, and we're going to just talk to him about what's it like nowadays and all. Now that the MTV era is kind of gone, is it still as magical as before?
So let's get Goldwatch on the line. I wonder if he was born with just the best last name for producing rap videos.
He was born with a 007 last name.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get him on the line.
Hey, Fancy Pants.
What's going on?
What's going on, Jason?
What's up, fellas?
Not much. This is Mike and that's Scott. Welcome to Verbal Shenanigans.
Thank you so much, those shenanigan makers.
Where we got you calling from, man?
What's that?
Where we got you calling from?
Pasadena, California.
Oh, nice. And they done with that rain out there?
That's all rumors and myths.
Are you have you recovered from Sunday? I know you're from the area, the Niners.
Yeah, I don't know. I we can get into it if you want. I sort of thought that it was impossible for Kansas City to lose, right? With the thing.
Pretty much. I don't know. Are you on board on the conspiracy train there, or did you find
let's get canceled fast. Let's go. Let's get over with.
I don't know. I just feel like at the end there, you just knew what was going to happen.
Are you a football guy?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
I mean, technically, it's Washington, so it's somewhat football, you know?
What does that mean? Where are you?
I live in Georgia, but I'm a Commanders fan, and Scott's a Giants fan. So.
You're a race car fan.
Yes, I am. Daytona next week.
Jesus, that's cool. Who's going to win that one? San Francisco, right?
Yeah, the San Francisco Cars, sure.
Yeah.
What's going on? What are we doing here?
We're just chatting there, Jason, and all. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and all? With all that you've done in music videos, were you more like a musical person growing up? Or you a film kid? What got you on this path?
I was just a little troublemaker, really, that was just got into art, I got into like painting and drawing and stuff. And so that sort of led into a really awesome experience of a school of the arts that popped up in San Francisco, which I was there for painting and hated my teacher so much that we transferred into ceramics. for a second, and we were making bongs and the whole thing, and it was just a waste of time. But then this guy came into my class and offered a new media class with video making and editing. It was the first time that had really happened, and I took advantage of it. And so that sort of formulated my passion into sort of more of a visual thing. And filmmaking also includes sound and sound design and storytelling and stuff. So to me, it was for me, it was more interesting than just visual art on a flat plane.
Now, when you entered the video making world, what were you working with? Were you reel to reel? Was it
Dude, bro.
Was it Avid? What was your first entrance into the
No, I went through
editing?
I went through every phase of what you just described. We started out on two VHSs that would click back and forth for a second or two before you get and those tapes would wear out. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. And then
that's also what I went to school for. So I kind of remember the days of sitting there till 1 o'clock in the morning, going tape to tape. Yep.
Yeah, you got to get those edits right. And so then what happened? So I went to film school and then was lucky enough to get into an internship at Industrial Light and Magic and learned the Avid my first year at CalArts. So I went through the Avid phase and then managed to scrape up enough money to get a secondhand Avid in my house. And that went out with Premiere, right? So then went through Final Cut first. And,
definitely.
This is nerd shit, bro. I like this. And then we got Premiere and fucking here we are. It's actually open on the back of the screen right here.
ILM, that's quite a place to land for a young kid.
Yeah, it was cool. It was exciting. I mean, I wasn't doing shit, but it was cool to be inside. I was picking up popcorn after the screenings of like Mars Attacks.
No, still using the ceramic bongs you made during that time.
Well, dude, the thing was, it was so boring, and I was actually in the editorial department, and they were cool enough to be like, "Just go. You have anything to work on?" And so I just brought in a music video and sort of learned Avid on my own in there because they were just like, "There's really nothing for you to do. It's kind of stupid." Let's go.
So kind of talk us through like the process of how you got found. I know like for what I understand, Spike Jonze, like you got caught up with him and started doing stuff, but like were you like doing sound stuff on tours where they found you, or was it just literally you were making videos and somebody saw something they liked?
I was in high school, which was a smooth little escort into a fancy pants art film school. And then once I got there, I was in Los Angeles and sort of just dialed in from my friends in San Francisco. It was a real strangely wonderful progression of just like friends who knew other friends. And so the friends from San Francisco led me to friends in LA who were at a music group and they were sort of tinkering around with major labels. And so as we were doing music videos together in film school, they were now getting signed to major labels and those budgets improved and the expansion, it just became vast. And it sort of, we had Capitol Records behind little film projects we were making basically, so I sort of learned from that, like, I can make these little funny, interesting films with music that I like. And rather than me trying to make my film and push it out right by myself, like who's geez, compared to a Capitol Records, the system and multiple systems in place and budgets and staff and the whole thing. So it's an interesting way for me to slip in and make films and let them rock, on airwaves and have a whole industrial system behind it, and arguably making, artwork as films with friends.
So it's interesting. It seems like you have spanned where music videos were, so big, and they were a huge part of releases, and now they're still big and used for almost in different ways. How have you adjusted to kind of the trend of music videos?
Dude, you got to stretch. When you and I started, bro, I was looking at Hype Williams and Spike Jonze, and I don't know, right. For the audience, like Spike or Hype would fucking show up and they'd turn the treatment in and show up. They get 10% of a budget, dude. So Hype's working with, $1.5 million, that day rate's fucking insane, So that's where it started. And that's when MTV was popping and Madonna was still banging and, the world was a different place. Music videos now, right? What is it? It's a mess. So everyone thinks they're a photographer. Everyone thinks they're a shooter. Everyone's an editor. So where did you? I forget what you asked where we're going with this, but it's the playing field.
I was saying how you spanned from that kind of budget to now where music videos are. They're almost in their own sector, their own now.
Well, it's either like you really got to do it's what sort of where I transition into, where you really have to make an impactful statement with it to really try and do a thing where it's like worth watching for 2.5 minutes. Because I don't even watch some things that are 15 seconds, bro. I'm a victim to the same addiction, dude. So it's like to understand that and sort of serve it up and be like, all right, just trust me for these 3 minutes. It's a big amount. It's a full meal, 3 minutes, for a lot of these kids. So to take that on is a new thing. So either you're going to do that or you're just going to do dumb performance and know it's going to cut into 15-second pieces and let them just gobble it up and shit it out. And it just dies.
Right.
I mean, my whole thing was to try and make historical, cornerstone or whatever, but things that would last and stick around and continue to resonate after even the music has left. So that there's still some of that, but I mean, I couldn't tell you who the Spike Jonze is now. It's like video is so fucked up, MTV's so lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard from it. We had Matt Pitfield on there, and he pretty much said, yeah, it's just a corporate thing to call it MTV nowadays. So
it's a logo. Yeah, it's fucked up. I mean, it's basically fucking a network of just, rewashing shows they've shot, and there's no music videos there. It's just.
So tell us about like your actual, when they contract you, are you like meeting with the musicians and bands and talking about ideas? Or are they just like showing up and you're like, this is design and just play along with me?
If you're out there, if this is for advice type of level, I mean, the thing that I did that I think served me really well was connecting with music that I loved early with bands that were great early and just connecting personally with people. And I've said this on a couple of podcasts before, but my entire career, I've never not got one single job through a video commissioner, through a record label. Every job I've ever gotten has been through a personal relationship. So that just, take that for what it is. Like, and especially as the record labels are just shitting. Are we allowed to swear here? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Whatever you
Hey,
want.
they're shitting their pants, dogs. The record labels are shitting their pants. You know what I mean? And they're trying to figure it out. And so it's like, there's something to be said for that, I think, getting in there and shaking that way,
Yeah. When you collaborate with an artist, how long into your career did it take for them to trust you with their product? Like, as far as like, okay, this guy's got like a track record. Like, how does it compare early on to now? Like, where you do have a very impressive track record, which we'll get to, in a minute. But
I mean, I think that was the first time I got depressed, dude, was when I sort of had this rosy fucking, rosy colored glasses type of shit where I just thought, like, I did a video with Cool Keith at one point and just broke my ass for him. And we just did a really sort of wonderful little thing for 10K, which is a lot for me back then, but still. And the next video I assumed would be mine. And then it was like some other thing that went on to Sony and he got a deal and he didn't bring me up with him. And I was like, damn, what kind of world is this?
right.
So again, it was the ones that I had personal relationships with that really worked. And I've managed to make great shit with my friends, which has been insane. But again, it's just what comes out of that love is the most powerful thing of just sort of like, if I'm creating for my friends, there's so much more pressure. I've worked for commercials. I've done commercials for everyone. You could Google Glass, Mercedes, whatever. Like, you care, but it's different. It's different. It's a big check and it's a much different process. So I don't know. When you work with your friends, it makes you stay up late, get up early type of level that you should be on anyways. I would just connect with music that you love and connect with them if you can and see if you guys can fucking out,
Can you give us a little peek behind the curtain as far as your work process? So, like, if we're coming to you, we want you to make a video. Are you storyboarding it at home? Like, are you coming up with what is your general like creative process as far as like, okay, this is how I generally work? Of course, there's outliers, but
it totally depends. I mean, the budget, obviously, I hate to say this, is dependent, but it's also like sometimes I'll hear a song and I'll just hear the intro and then the first bridge or whatever, and I'll have an idea that makes sense because the name of the song, and I can go. And I don't even really have to listen to the song that much, and I can just describe it and write it down. Other times it's an idea where I'm like, man, I have a couple like visual ideas that I think are pretty cool. And I think it's an editorial thing that'll connect it all. I edit all my own shit. So that needs more explanation and more sort of walking the artist through how to weave. You can show them the yarn, and sometimes that's crazy, but sometimes you need to show them what you're going to make out of the yarn ahead of time. So storyboarding, I don't think it's done that much in music videos anymore.
Okay.
But like I said, again, for me, it's different because I tend to work with friends. So there's a different kind of conversation, a different kind of trust level. And, there's a lot of people that just say, here's the song, let's go. Tell me when we can go. And then I'll kick it to them, but I don't have to write anything down really, So it depends. Those are the most fun ones too, where it's all the trust to fuck around. Some things don't work and sometimes they do. And, storyboard tends to lock you into a program that for me is a little bit stressful and feels confining. So sometimes I'll buffer myself. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, did you ever have like a plate of footage and things and had no idea what the final product was, and then got into the editing bay and put out something that you were like blown away by?
Well, sort of. I mean, I did a video, it was a gangrene video we did where we went to the Salton Sea out here, where it's like an abandoned town. That used to be a resort. It's on a fake lake, and the lake dried up over time and just left salt. So there are these fish that live in this Salton Sea that they'll just long enough to spawn before they die. So it's this constant sea of dead fish that wash up, which spawns these botflies. So it's like it's hell. And there's old rotten houses and dead burnt palm trees. It's amazing. It's beautiful. So I would go with, I mean, we went there and shot a video all day, you know, and on the drive there was a pit bull there was like a dead dog on the side of the road. So had the art van pull over and we picked up a dead dog on the way and shot like this just terrible video. There was no shot list or any idea other than just being in hell for that song. The song was called The Sickness. Those guys trusted me, and I just a bunch of old Super 8 film that we went with. So I mean, that's one of those ideas where it's like, dude, you get it. I mean, it's fucking rotten down there. Let's just go for a day. If you trust me, you almost treat it like photography.
Mm. I mean, you worked with such big names: Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, Kanye, Blink-182, just to name a few. Does them being artists, do they try to bounce back on your ideas to kind of give a vision for the video, or do you accept that, or are you kind of like, guys, just trust me on what the process is?
You have to feel it out. You know what I mean? You're the director's a tough role. I always say it's lonely. It's sort of a lonely role because you have to be so many things to so many people's. It depends if it's worth the argument. You know, it's a personality test, really. I mean, I've gotten into it. I mean, you said Busta Rhymes on the set of the video I've done with him. He did this funny ass thing where there's a part in the song where everything mutes out and he goes, ah, and does like this funny ass Busta Rhymes thing. That's like fresh. That's like bust the bus, bro. Yeah. He did it once. The next take he didn't do it. So it's a room full of fucking, I don't know, 40 people. Bust, listen, that one time, that was cool. Like, give me that again.
Yeah.
You know, he was kind of like, listen, I'm the rapper, you're the director. Just why don't you go get back behind that camera type of vibe. But then there's times when I've gotten into it on the Kanye video, and Kanye took my side, and we fucking went and made a bunch of amazing shit, and he settled the argument, taking my side. So you gotta pick your battles. But if the vision, ideally, you know, I would say like you should be able to describe the video in a 5 or 10 sentences, and you're like, oh shit, that's gonna be cool. Okay, now, and then everyone can get busy inside of that structure and figure out.
Yeah,
what I was thinking, you know, what do I like? Or if you build them sort of the architecture to fill it together is fun.
You know, with the laundry list of artists you work with, Mike just named a few, and I mean, if you pull up your name and just go do a little Googling, you'll find who you worked with. Is there someone that you worked with that just has blown you away artistically or with their vision that like you didn't even expect when you got to work with them?
How long have we been doing this? How long are we going so far on this one? You want to get canceled right now, real quick, and everyone's gonna fuck.
We need to be canceled.
Yeah. We've been going for 10 years. You might.
We need the publicity.
I'll tell you what. I flew out to Hawaii to Kanye flew me out. I didn't know him, and Kanye flew me out to Hawaii years ago to work on something. He was working on his first film, and I liked some of his shit. I gone through a breakup with one of his fucking albums. Like fucking Kanye, hell yeah, bro. And it was Kanye West back then. It wasn't funny business yet, right? So
yeah, weird noise Kanye. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went and walked in. He was in the studio working, and I walked in and sat down just quietly and was just kind of like overwhelmed, a little bit overwhelmed, right? A little intimidated. And I watched him fuck with a snare, dude, for like 45 minutes. And they did different filters and different things. And he was walking around the room and doing it. And I was like, holy shit bags, dude. No one knows how serious this is. Like, yo, everything he does, every breath he takes is calculated. It's a really beautiful thing to watch when it turns into harmonies and like sophisticated rhythm patterns and shit. So that was one thing where I was blown away watching Kanye work for the first time. And I wouldn't say I hate Kanye right now. It's stupid to say on a podcast, but like we're going through it, right? We have issues. It's an abusive relationship, right? Fucking
yeah.
But like, you know, at that moment, it was pretty fucking. I was overwhelmed a little bit.
As I've watched some of your videos, very artistic. You take pride in it. You put your name in the front to make people know this is my art. Do you ever get pissed off when you see like a Beyonce video where it's just like, let's all dance and have lights in the background and that's the whole video and stuff like that?
I wouldn't say I get pissed, but a little disappointing, right? Like what we could have done with that budget. Like some of those budgets, bro, we could literally, the three of us could make a couple films with, you know what I mean? Like it's fucking pathetic what they're doing. But I guess when you get to that place, it's like, why wouldn't you just take that check and keep it popping? You know, it's like I get it. It's like I've sort of taken on this role. It's affected, you know, it's a gift and a curse. So sort of people come to me, they expect a film or a psychedelic experience or something different, or whenever there's a weird single, it comes to me. Whenever there's some fucking strange, you know what I mean, strange theme, it comes to me. It's a gift and a curse. But man, you know, I'd love to do a Beyonce video on some set with some lights and just get it done and have fun and catering and
Yeah. You've done so much. I'm always curious about like guys like you who have pushed it creatively. What happens with writer's block with you as far as like, okay, I wanted you to do my video. I've done so much. Like how do you get out of it, or what's the worst case you've had of it?
bro, I've been drinking, dude. I'm fucking with it right now. We're doing a bunch of new gangrene shit, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, what hasn't been done, dude?
Yep.
No. And the fucking worst part, I went to a podcast and they talked about it was this to try and find some inspiration or some clarity or just a step back, and it was like they started talking about everything's been done. And I was like, holy shit, but it's like it's a tough, especially for music videos, dude. Come on, you know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
budget, nothing. So it's like, God bless me, dude. It's a lot of pressure. I feel like I've continued to, you know, to that point of making psychedelic shit or making films or making these interesting things. Like to have an audience that expects that every time, and to know that even the work that's coming next depends on my last work, sort of feeding into that whole thing. It's like a lot of pressure. And then to be creative in pressure is the worst fucking rock in a hard place type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like amazing. Like you think of like giant directors of like, you know, Tarantino, right? You know, every film is under a microscope, and he's getting out of the game. You've done all these short films, dozens and dozens and dozens. Like I feel like that's almost in some ways more of a challenge to do something different every single time with a piece of music.
With a piece of music and a budget that's garbage pants.
Yep. Right.
Like, you know, even when I started, the budgets were my first videos with dilated and shit. Those are gigantic compared to now. Those are big budget videos, dude. Like compared to now, it's like, man, to be creative and then, you know, you gotta get really get scrappy. I mean, that comes to the Soul Assassins film. Was like every part of that film that we made was, you know, the Sikhs that held up the cowboys. The Sikhs were my business partners and his homies that fucking go to, you know, religious shit together, and the cowboys were the homies' cousins who had the house. Like it was like you have to start pulling strings, and then it becomes a thing of, you know, how wide is your net, and what's your reach and your sort of like network. And Bun B is like a good friend of mine. He always says, you know, your net worth is worth your network, and that's real ass pimp talk because that's true, you know.
Yeah, yeah. How many times have you sacrificed your own personal budget just to get the project the way you wanted it? Because I feel like that's definitely had to happen before.
I mean, pretty much every. I mean,
Yep.
you know, that's the thing is too. It's like, yo, I have a family now. It's crazy, but it's like that pressure to really produce something different every time or something that's worth watching for 3 minutes. You can't do that if I try and take a proper fee, because sometimes that budget's less than my fee should be. Honestly,
Right.
it comes to Alchemist, or, you know, again, it's a lot of personal relationships, but just the resonance culturally that some of these projects have, it's worth me cashing in those sort of like, you know, those points or whatever it's going to be, just not even look at it monetarily, because it's probably going to be worth it on the flip of that, you know, because the reason we're here, I think probably because of some of the shit we've done together, you know.
Well, you kind of brought up earlier, like you've done commercials, you've done short films. It looks like you've even done a little bit of directing some TV shows. With all the work and limited budget you have in videos, do you ever sit back and go, let me just get an easy paycheck for a couple months just to cool my brain off?
Bro, I'll take it easy. Right now, let's go. I would love an easy paycheck. Who's got one?
Not us.
Let's go. I would love an easy paycheck. I'm not stupid. I'm just creative, dude. You know, and I'm fucking stubborn, dude. It's up to a fault, but it's actually paid off in a sense.
Not bad. I know. Well, I also know.
Big ass bat behind you, bro. What kind of shit are you on?
What's up?
It's that barbarian bat.
That's for killing people. That's what.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he does.
I'm trying to see where it's. Oh,
big,
okay, that's from The Walking Dead. Yeah, I live in about an hour from Sonoya where they did The Walking Dead, so that was from the shop down there.
Oh, that's cool. I gotta send you guys a picture or something to put in the background, maybe.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or a
Definitely.
victim, maybe a victim. Something like that.
Oh, is there video? Are people watching this? No, they're just hearing us, right?
Yeah.
Just
All right, cool.
Yeah.
What else, you guys? It's cool.
Uh,
Man.
Let's talk about your work, your some of the stuff you're working on. I understand you're doing a short film with DJ Muggs of Cypress Hill. Can you tell us a little about it?
Well, that is the guy, as we all know. And you know, not to date either of us, but coming up, he was a huge inspiration for me creatively. Just this his sound system and the texture that he brought into rap music. Plus, he was a honky, bro. Changed my fucking life in San Francisco as a young white boy, dude. Changed my life that could happen like that. So when House of Pain came out, that was he made fucking Jump Around, dude. So
You
like
did. Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
it. That's the end of it. So we've been hanging out just because of the circle of friends and just the tree of trust in Los Angeles and shit. But like eventually we realized that like, bro, we should do something. We've been tried for a long time. And eventually he came to me, he was like, I have a little bit more of a budget probably than it's popping around, but I don't want to make videos and I don't want to have rappers in my shit because it's so hard to work with them and just the schedules and the whole thing. Take the album and walk away and come back and tell me like, what do we do? And he was hoping for, I think, 10 minutes or 15 minutes, he said. That turned into like a 35-minute film. That's like the greatest accomplishment of my life, aside from my children, this far. I mean, I broke my leg making the fucking movie, doing my own stunts. Like it was absolutely the craziest thing. And after that, I was stuck to my chair for fucking 6 months editing, just not being able to walk, pissing in jars. Like
What the
for
hell
real,
did
the
you do?
craziest shit. Go ahead.
What'd you do?
It's the dumbest. It's one of those things that doesn't even make sense. But in the film, there's a scene where these guys are getting robbed, and the robbers are leaving the house. And they jump into the back of a truck to escape, and like it was like a jump. Imagine you're jumping towards the back of a pickup, and you're just twisting in the air to land on your back. And it was just I got a spiral fracture in the leg that I dipped out of.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Check this out though. So I broke it. It was a drone shot actually. So it's sort of a complicated shot that we were doing, and got fucked up. And we all come back to one, and like we're talking about it. I'm like, dude, I really think I fucking really sprained my ankle. Like I don't know what I could do. I don't know if I could shoot tomorrow like this. And it's like swelling up, and the drone operator goes, "Yo, we need one more." I'm like, what do you mean? We didn't get it, dude. I need one more. If you want the time bomb in that side of that truck shot, we need one more. So actually, the shot that's in the film of you'll see the robber limping and running to the back of the truck. That's me with a broken ass leg on just adrenaline drugs, dude. Like just
Wow.
bears, dude. Wolves drugs.
You,
Survival.
like a lot of our chat here is about like your successes and your creative mind and how you push yourself. Give us insight to a time you failed. You had this great idea that it just didn't work out for you.
That's never happened to me.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, I think I don't know. It's like sort of it's a complicated fractal because I think having the complexity and the confidence to walk into a shoot with things that could fail potentially is a
Sure.
gift. So I think,
No, I agree with that for sure.
yeah. So I think it's like experimenting has always gotten me the most. So I don't ever, I tend to try, in the best circumstance, make my days cushy and build space for me to fail and build as it's talking about storyboarding, like it locks you into a specific frame and a specific thing. And it's like, what if the light's different? Or what if there's a plane that's doing, chemtrails in the background?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like whatever's happening, like just to be in the room before you tell your audience what's happening in the room type of thing. So, but I've definitely failed before. Let me think about that. I mean, I did a Kendrick Lamar video with Schoolboy Q that was half underwater. It was absolutely fucking awful. And that was just me trading. I was a combination of like, if you saw it on a graph, you'd be like, oh, no wonder. You know what I mean? There's always points lined up. It was like, my art director switched out at a new DP. I was living in New York, but worked in LA. It was just a bunch of shit, dude.
Sure.
And they were on they were on an upward swing. And then so we wanted to reshoot. And then it didn't make sense because I was a business owner in the production company. So it didn't make sense for us to reshoot financially.
Right.
So that was a loss for real. So we just kind of blew that one.
So clearly, we know you for your directing and your music videos and whatnot. But what other when you step away from that and you're living in that head of an artist, what kinds of things are you working on? Is there something that we would not know about you that you do on the side artistically?
I'm drawing on clothes. I have a whole stack of clothes over here that I'm drawing on. Yeah, I'm working on a story of some sort that could get put into a script form so I can get moving on a real actual feature.
Okay, cool.
Huge conspiracy theorist. I'm a fucking father. I'm a fucking, what else am I doing that people don't know about? I'm an artist, man. That's the thing is like if I'm not
Mhm.
here trying to clock in hours, I'm making this edit right now for Gangrene, whatever. I'm sitting over there drawing in the sketchbook or I'm listening to a podcast, doing some, I don't know. It's just, it's like
Always
a
going.
fuck fountain. Yeah. Cause it's like, it's a gift and a curse, man.
He said conspiracy theories. What's the one you're hanging on right now?
I
Flat
don't,
Earths.
He already told us the 49ers Super Bowl, man.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to really get you canceled. The moon's pretty interesting. If you want to talk about that, I don't know. Pretty
Yeah,
fun.
let's get into the moon. Why would we not get into
I don't know, because fucking we were taught that it's just a regular thing. It's just the moon over there hanging out. I don't know. I mean, it's a good story is that there's a dude named John Lear whose father invented the Learjet. He's obviously came up inside of that world. He worked for the CIA. He did missions everywhere. Like that dude, John Lear, his son. He did a thing like maybe 8 years ago where you could go on his website and actually book conversations with him and talk to him and ask him questions and shit. At this time, I was working for a production company, was trying to figure out how to do a TV show that was interesting, that was conspiracy, but not too much. And so ended up on his website, booked a moment with him and talked to him on the phone. And we kind of got along a little bit, John Lear, me and this weirdo. I mean, he's a legendary weirdo who's just, I'll tell you some shit he says, but he's a weirdo. Long story short, I'm with my now wife driving across the country. We're pulling into Las Vegas, and he actually lived in Las Vegas. So out of the blue, dudes, I called this fucking guy, and I'm like, "Listen, I'm actually pulling into your side of the town, bro. Like, what's going on?" Calls me back, gives me an address, and I go to this dude's house. And yo, I mean, dude, you guys need to Google John Lear real quick and just read his bio because fucking this guy's like, he's dead now. Actually, it's a shame. But so we walk into his house. There's some other agent guy sitting there who's sized us up for like 15 minutes and then left. It was kind of weird. And John Lee was like, "What are we doing?" I sort of gave him talked about the ideas a little bit. And I think just based on our language and I don't know, it was just good energy, whatever. We started talking about the moon.
Hmm.
So he says that the moon was, well, mathematically and statistically, it's impossible that the moon would be the size and shape that it is, based on our distance between here and the sun, so that it fits perfectly. Like an eclipse, the way it happens doesn't happen anywhere else ever. Period. And look, that's look upable on a regular Googleable
Okay.
platform. So that's pretty crazy, the mathematics of that. But then you also get into the fact that like it doesn't. There's no other moon that spins the way it does, so that the backside never faces us. That doesn't happen anywhere in the universe
Huh.
that we know about. The universe is a wild place. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fucking the Wizard of Oz, but that we know of, right? That NASA tells us. Says that there's also we shot some rockets at it and it rattled, but it resonated for like 3 hours and also doesn't the way it orbits. If it had the mass that it should, if it was a solid planet, it would fuck up our rotation. So like it doesn't actually physically have the mass enough to be a planet, or else it would fuck up our oceans. There's no other moon that's that big. You can look this up too. There's no other moon that's that big rotating around a planet that's
All right. I'm
there's all
intrigued.
that.
I'm intrigued.
There's that, right? So okay, It's also like growing up, it was a globe the whole time, right? When I was sitting in class, but like, what's that fucking Nancy Soy man that fucking talks about science with the fucking what's the Neil deGrasse
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yep.
fancy pants? So like he said it was pear shaped. You could look that up. So wait, the Earth's pear shaped. They didn't teach me that.
Yeah, well, man, I feel like that's a good idea for a video, just exposing the moon.
Oh man, I've tried. Believe me, try that on pitch. But there's all that. But then the thing is that we went right.
Yep.
And I'm a photographer. I know how hard it is for me to take a fucking focused photograph, dude. And I'm not wearing gloves or anything. I'm not on some foreign planet. So for me, it's like when you put a camera up to your face, you need to focus, and then you need to get your exposure right. It's two things you need to really, and then your frame. But let's not talk about that.
Sure.
But you need your camera up to your eye for your focal length. It needs to be right directly up to your face for you to understand the depth of field, so you get your focus right of the subject, whatever you're focusing. All right, these guys had glass masks that were 12 inches away from their face. Okay, and they had big, huge hot dog finger gloves to
Right.
adjust the aperture and their focus. And these pictures are fucking beautiful, dude. So that's the biggest one step for mankind, dude, is this guy taking great photographs under those kind of fucking circumstances, dude. It's impossible. Shall I keep
Love
going?
it.
We canceled?
Nah, love it. Yeah.
let's keep going. I mean, if let's just say this: if I was them, if you had $1 billion, would you do it or fake it? You'd fake it, dude. Especially if you didn't know if you could do it. So it's obvious and it's smart. I think it's actually the most brilliant, probably it's the most brilliant move, maybe of mankind, arguably based on what they're talking about.
I like it.
No one's been back. Who's been back?
Man, no one's been back.
No one's been back in a while.
There's also you can't name one technology that's moved backwards. Arguably, music videos actually is a funny fucking point. You can't name one thing that's moved backwards in time. Look at a car or a phone or a bus or a hot. Like, tell me the one thing that's moved backwards where we can't do things anymore. Pyramid, I guess, could be an argument, but how about that?
I think we went backwards from vinyl to cassette. I think that was backwards.
Nerd. So there's all that. You know, it keeps going, dude. The moon keeps going. They lost all the tapes.
Yeah, I mean,
bro.
you're selling me on the moon. Tomorrow, I'm going to look at it and just think it's not even there. I
have a commercial that I made for the Toyota that I fucking hate. Right. I have 3 copies of it in 2 different places. Right. So you're telling me NASA lost the footage of the moon landing?
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
I don't know. So to wrap this up,
bring it back around. We're losing.
to wrap this up, first off, I want to thank you for your time, man. I love picking creative guys' brains like you.
Definitely.
One thing I did want to talk to you as you were talking about you're a father. I'm a father too. I was curious how you go about because now you have these different responsibilities, and obviously your time is even more, it is lessened in a way as far as commitment to your creativity and whatnot. How do you balance that? How do you go about balancing and also maybe even incorporating your art and raising children at the same time?
All right, that's where we started. We said alcohol, right? That's where we started.
Alcohol, yeah.
For me, it's about just finding a flow state, and ordinarily when you don't have a family and you're just a weirdo artist, left field, whatever you're doing, you can just find a flow state. When you find that, you go work, and it's turned into a thing where I have to go work to find that. It's a complicated structure. I don't know. I mean, I like to change the chemistry in my brain. I got to be honest with you. I mean, you have to be careful, right? My wife before she was my wife and my fiance, she did an intervention on me because I got too deep into pills chasing. I don't know, whatever that is.
Yep.
It's a dangerous line, but for me, it's about silencing the mind, and obviously meditation, or whatever you want to say, fuck, bro. 'Cause, I mean, just, I don't know. I drink beers and I smoke good cannabis.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But I think,
what do your kids think about the moon? That's what I want to know.
That's the question. What do we say? I don't know. I don't know what to say. What do you say?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm curious about this moon stuff too. Now that you've presented it to us,
it's pretty fucked up, dude. I mean, whatever. There's also back to John Lear though. Hang on. So John Lear told us it was towed in the whole thing. He also told us that there are American bases on Mars. He said, and there's zip rooms or jump rooms. He said where he's like it's beyond the fact that people think it's solid gas or whatever they're using in these rockets now is laughable because it's actually these portals. That's what he said. He said a lot of shit that I was like, man, you're kind of fucking wacko. And his house was crazy. But as time has progressed and as I've gotten more and more into like deeper and deeper and more sophisticated podcasts and books and things, it's like a lot of the shit he said is actually coming to light where it's like, man.
I always say that sometimes about like these wacko conspiracy theorists. Like even if like 5% of it is true, they have something that they at least have one crazy thing that we might one day find out is actually the truth.
What's fucked up? Like, I'm the moon conspiracy guy. Wang wang wang. So you're like, tell me about it. But like, how about this? Prove to me that we landed on the moon, bro. Now you go.
Oh no, I'm not qualified for that.
We're trying to get one of the astronauts that landed on the moon on the show. Still been poking him, but we'll see.
That? We should bring Jason on the same episode and have a little combo together.
I mean, I would encourage you to go. I do this sometimes because I get in this argument a lot with my friends. But if you go watch the Super Bowl party this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just go in the locker room and see these big, gigantic, proud men that fucking accomplish some shit and they're spraying champagne all over each other and they're hugging and it's fucking awesome, right? And then you go look at the first moon landing press conference, and these dudes look like they fucking just saw a ghost, bro. It's like the weirdest, scariest. Go look at it. Look at the press conference.
For the record, Charlie Duke. That's the person I've been. We keep on going back and forth. Haven't got him on the show yet, but
And Charlie, yeah, he's known for that, bro. They call him Duty Duke.
why are you avoiding us, Charlie? We know the truth.
He's definitely not coming now.
Jason, I want to thank you so much for your time, man. Love talking to you. First, if people want to find out what's going on with you, and also what is going on with you, what's the next thing coming out on that we could look forward to?
I would encourage everyone to go to soulassassins.com and watch the 33-minute film entitled Death Valley we just finished, which is a whole psychedelic musical masterpiece. It's coming up is a bunch of weirdo. You know, it's interesting because that's sort of like a real, I don't want to say linear, but that's a real sort of film. I mean, it's like Ray Liotta, there's some voiceover in there. It's a bunch of like
cool.
film.
Oh, wow.
The thing I'm doing right now is like just super left field art shit with Alchemist Ono for a band called Gangrene. They have an album coming out. It's called Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. So it's weird, ironic and strange and dirty and filthy and gritty and digital and grainy and bugs and just filth, irony.
Love it.
Yep.
Okay.
Final question from me. Since you did commercials for them, do you still have a Microsoft Zune by any chance?
I did not hold on to my Zune. I don't.
Ah.
I have a Google Glass somewhere hanging around that's broken. I should have hung. I had a brown Zune, and I was like, these motherfuckers sent me a brown one. Are those worth a lot of money now?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably are. Right?
It's like that weird area of, yeah, it's antique, but do people remember it, you know?
Hang on to everything. That's some advice. People always ask me for advice. Dude, don't throw anything away.
Exactly.
We did a lot of work with Pharrell and his skate team, and they used to send me all these shoes all the time, and they were like, I thought they're really ugly. And bro, are they going for a lot of money right now? Why didn't I just hold on? What a moron. What a spoiled brat.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining us, man. We really
Stop thanking me, dude.
appreciate you spending a couple minutes with us. And good luck with everything you got going on. And hopefully we'll figure out that moon thing by the next time we talk. So,
all right, awesome. Are you going to make this announcement right now or what?
The moon?
No, that I'm joining the podcast. The announcement we talked about.
Oh, okay.
That,
well,
that got weird. We'll talk about it offline.
Jason, before you go, can you? Well, I wasn't supposed to tell Mike that you were replacing him, so that's why.
Like I said, we'll talk about it.
That's why I was a little.
It's fine.
A little quiet there, but you know, we're gonna get through the paperwork, and Mike will be on his way. And
there goes that party. We'll invite him. You know,
the Goldwatch and Brennan show is coming out March 1st, so
you'll be our first guest.
yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you. This is awesome.
Mike, your personal thoughts on the moon?
You know, I look in the sky and I see it there, so it's hard for me to say it's not there. But as I say, we're still attempting to get one of the astronauts that were supposedly up there on the show.
You don't want to taint your reputation.
No. I mean, we've dove into this stuff before and all. I mean, we interviewed the gentleman who did the movie about the Rocket Man, who tried to make his homemade rockets go into space and prove that the Earth was flat.
Oh my God, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah. That was a good interview, and but we do not shy for conspiracy. That's why I told Jason, if you have some, let's hear some. And no, we're not going to shun you here on the show.
Do you have any conspiracy theories that you believe in?
Nothing that's like major out there. I would say the most conspiracy theory thing I can think of that I question is I question the number of people who died in 9/11. And the reason I question it is because I remember of the day how the initial reports came out and they said there was like somewhere in the range of like 10,000 people who died. And then magically, as a week or so went by, it went down to 3,000, where I kind of say, if you had a list of 10,000, you can't tell me you wouldn't have noticed a bunch of duplicates on the page. So that's one thing I somewhat question. It's nothing where I'm like, I'm gonna get go out and
You're
stand in
not.
front of the Pentagon and be like, tell us the truth, tell us the
Yeah,
truth.
you're not on like QAnon sites like posting about what about Building 7 or Tower 7.
Yeah, yeah. What about basement 4? Huh?
Yeah, yeah,
There were some people in there. But
yeah. I think I'm just like conditioned to just be eh, like I just don't. I don't care enough about a subject to dive too deep into a conspiracy theory. Like I'm kind of
yeah.
like you could tell me like, yeah, it's all fake, and I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe he's right too. And I just kind of and I sit in my life with both of these sides, just like in politics, and I just kind of go, yeah, one of them is right or one of them is wrong, or it's probably
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
I mean, let's remember somebody jokingly put on the internet one day, birds aren't real,
Oh yeah.
and people went with it.
Mhm.
Like, not just a couple people, haha, I don't believe in birds. People went with it. So
This is
anything is possible.
this is why I think if you're trying to take over the world or become a superpower or get rid of America or whatever, why would you ever go to war when you can just invest in like internet trolls or we're seeing it every day. Like the Super Bowl just passed and all you see now is people going, "Oh, it's a conspiracy and
I knew it.
Taylor Swift is the devil and they're working for the Democrat and the Niners." I'm like, you guys did see the Niners like cough the game up at the end, right? Like
Yeah.
you did see the Chiefs actually get a penalty for once, like a bad penalty.
Yeah.
And what is there to gain for them?
Well, clearly Democrats hate the city of San Francisco. If there's one town that is full of redneck Republicans,
That's true.
it's San Francisco.
That's true. Yeah, not Kansas City.
No,
Definitely.
no. What, the middle of the United States is going to be blue collar? You kidding me?
I mean, the Taylor Swift thing, it's so funny watching how far people are going with it. It's like maybe they're showing her because she's the biggest pop star on earth and she happens to be in attendance. And also, that brings ratings and fans' eyes onto the game. And that's it. Like, why is this so like polarizing? Like, I have to go with my theory on everything that the average Joe knows the truth. Like, this is all BS. But man, I mean, social media will make you just like hate every person ever. And I think like, why would you ever invest in nukes where you can just invest in like trolls? Just put out these things that are
Yeah.
going to be divisive and pull the country apart and just make everyone hate their country.
Yeah, you
And
drop
each
a
other.
bomb, you kill millions, you're eventually the enemy.
Right.
You just like, yo, did you know that your neighbor is trying to train children to be born transgender and try to take away your guns? 5 minutes later and all, you just take care of your own problem and all.
Yeah, exactly. Like what? Yeah, no lives lost, and you're just spending money on watching them implode from the inside, just like the towers. It was an inside job, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's a scary time we're in, man, because you can't report anything. You could be like, Michael Burlew went to the supermarket. They'd be like, well, what was his political views?
Yeah.
Was he not supporting people with food stamps? Oh, he's white. He's white. He probably shouldn't go to the food store. He should probably give his money for the food to people that are not white. Like, there's another angle.
Scott, I went down the baby food aisle, and as you know, I don't have a baby. So what am I doing down there?
A child molester. You're definitely
Uh-huh.
definitely a molester.
Yeah, I'm building my own island. Epstein's is taken care of. Somebody's got to build it up, baby.
Burlew's Island. Grains of maturity don't exist here. But
You just see me dressed up like the dudes from Fantasy Island and come.
but anyway, Jason Goldwatch. Jason Goldwatch. Now, Burlow,
Yes.
not gonna lie,
Mm-hmm.
you looked a little distracted towards the end of my conversation before we got Jason on.
What are you talking about?
And your tell is that you have glasses,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see the movement of the computer screen in your glasses when you're hyper focused on something. Like sometimes when I'll be like, I don't remember if this happened. You're like, I'm not sure. We could look it up. And then when you start to look it up, the light from the computer moves a little bit in your eyes.
No, I'm looking something right up right now, Scott, as my head is gyrating back and forth. I am clearly entering a very long sentence into the Google.
Now you told us that a thing might come to you tonight. My question is, did it come to you?
Scott, it's like 80% on paper, but you know what, baby? We're going for it. We're going full circle. We don't care. We don't know how it ends, but you know what's life without adventure?
I mean, I also think that with the stroke symptoms you're having, this might be
Happening?
It's contagious.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
I gave you my English over the internet.
So this might be it. So we might as well get it out there on the air. So Mike, let's roll with Michael Burlew's 85% game. Here we go.
Yeah, Scott. I mean, you know what tomorrow is, right?
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
Yep, Scott. It's the most romantic, beautiful day of the year, and there's only one thing I could think of to truly celebrate that. I mean, granted, it's also my wife's birthday tomorrow, but we'll push that aside, and maybe I'll have a card for her ready. But
all the best people are born in February.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, one. That's about it. But in any case,
you should include your wife in that conversation. That's not fair.
the only way I feel to truly celebrate the most beautiful day of love is with erotic fan fiction, Scott.
Oh my God. So you didn't finish the end?
It will come to me.
This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
No.
All right, Scott.
I want to see so while you're doing erotic fan fiction, which by the way, Mike, how do we even explain this? Mike, somewhere along the line, wrote erotic fan fiction about the podcast guest that we had, and I had to guess who it was. Then it took a life of its own, and we still haven't figured out why exactly Mike does this, or when he does this, or what
It's high demand, Scott. It's high demand.
Motivated this, but this is a good. There's a new element to this right now because now I have to pinpoint. I want to try to pinpoint the moment the story
goes off the rails.
No, but it wasn't finished. I want to find the other. The game is called Find the Other 50%. So here we go.
Beautiful woman sitting on the beach, hanging out on a hot afternoon.
Ooh.
As she lays on her towel, chuckling off guys trying to flirt with her, she ponders the boredom that she has had in her life and wishes for adventure. Yes.
She was chuckling off?
Yeah. Some guys try to flirt with her and she's like, ha, 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 whatever,
Oh, chuckling off. All right.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, but I also never heard it. But this is Burlew's world, Burlew's English. So, All right, continue.
As she gathers her items and walks to the car, she's approached by a group of unruly gang members. They surround her asking if she is interested in drugs and want to party. The lady is frozen in terror, not knowing what to do and what they expect. Suddenly, one of the gang members sees a silhouette in the distance. He starts yelling at the gang members, "We gotta flee! We gotta go!" The gang disbands as the lady slides down her car, breathing hard, wondering what happened. The shadow from the distance starts coming closer, and the woman starts focusing in. She sees a large, muscular, red-head approach her and say, "Lake Patrol, ma'am, you're safe." She grabs his hand, smiling, curious of this Irish Superman as they jump on the Lake Patrol ATV. They go off around the beach as he tells stories about the lake. I wake up every day wondering if I'm going to live. I know this is one of the most dangerous jobs, Lake Patrol, but all I care about is making sure the people of this lake are safe. As she just ponders and wonders about who the stranger is and why he does such dangerous things, she starts gazing into his eyes as she clings hardly as they go on the ATV. As they go in near sunset, the lake patrolman says to her, "I want to bring you somewhere special." As they start walking down the beach, out in the distance she can see the Lake Patrol sailboat. As they jump on there, gazing upon each other as the sun goes down, they sail off onto the beautiful lake, gazing upon each other's eyes, knowing that for once she may have found her boredom is gone, and he has found the reason he has been on patrol.
Did you just write erotic fan fiction about me?
It could have been anybody.
No. Big bearded redhead man who did lake patrol at one point of his life. Security.
That wasn't Joe Jacoby?
No, you just
Yeah.
now you're writing erotic fantasies about your co-host.
No, I'm not the woman. That's a woman's thoughts on the Irishman, but it could be anybody that's been on the show.
The fact that you had this 75-80% pre-written
Mm-hmm.
and you were working on this
Mhm.
erotic title with myself in it.
It could have been Kendra Erica.
No, that she didn't work Lake Patrol.
We didn't ask her. You don't know.
And then I also saw the exact moment that you finished the story
Okay.
because you were reading, and then all of a sudden you looked up and were starting to just pontificate all these ad lib lines.
Yeah.
When you were doing it, were you thinking about me? Like, were you like thinking,
Well-
like, how would I finish this story?
Well, we've had so many guests, and you brought up that sailboat story, and I just decided to combine them. That's not necessarily the Scott Brennan erotic fan fiction.
Okay. So I just love the dynamic that you are writing sexual stories about me now.
Hey, you're the one that's bringing up sailboats. It's not my fault. I'm just an innocent person trying to do a podcast here.
It is funny because last week, one of our listeners, Dom, said, "I want to see a demo of your new wrestling move, which is called the Sex in a Sailboat. Either that or the Shivering Irishman, but Burlew gets credit for that one." And I said, "I could show you it, but you're not gonna like what you would see." So
Threatening our listeners. That's not a great idea, Scott.
So I feel like everything is really getting insane now. Now,
Just now?
you started erotic fan fiction,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's turning towards you writing romantic things about myself.
Well, Scott,
yeah.
if the fans are writing erotic fiction
Right.
about the show,
Right.
surely it would eventually involve the hosts at some point.
But I feel
But I
like
cannot confirm.
the next step is going to be the both of us, probably.
That's not my cup of tea, but
Why not? You're not inclusive?
probably the next one will be about the mustache award winner.
If okay, let's flip. Let's get weird here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Company comes along, right? Big media local company. Like they're like, we need content. Content is king. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
They got the checkbook out. They're like, we love your show. In fact, we've listened to episode after episode. And we've decided that the best thing you guys got going is Burlew's fan fiction. Like it's a hit.
Well, first I would yell at them and say it's erotic fan fiction.
Erotic.
Don't leave out the most important word of it.
Don't pigeonhole me, you know.
Yeah.
So they're like, look, we want to expand on this idea.
Mm-hmm.
We want the co-host to have a semi like sexual erotic relationship. Okay.
Okay.
So me and you are now presented with the idea of, all right, we're gonna do this show together.
Mm.
They're like, look, you're gonna continue to do the show together, but there's only one thing you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to hook up with each other. Okay.
All right.
Me, you, your long hair, my beard. One time we got to do it,
Yeah.
but the checkbook is like
Massive.
we're talking like set for life money. Okay,
Yeah.
like my kids will have money after this. Maybe they offer us 25 million each.
Ooh.
How are we going to navigate this situation?
I mean, I guess close our eyes and think of girls.
With grains of maturity. How are we
Yeah.
going to do this?
Yeah, just kind of close our eyes, think of our wives, and just go to town, I guess. I think that's the only way.
would suck your face for $25 million.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I should have put
I
that
would
in the story.
I might even get into it. I might pull your hair a little bit. You know, who
Ooh.
knows?
Ooh, I like it. You're not gentle with me. Okay.
Read one of your stories, Burlou. Do it. Tell me the Lucy Spraggan story one more time. I mean, it would be like, we're pandering to a very modern audience, a very inclusive audience.
I guess the next step naturally will be at some point you have to make the Burlou erotic fan fiction.
I could do that, but I can't jump right into that because you would know it's the Burlou. Like I have to do my own couple and sprinkle you in there.
An erotic off. Okay.
Again, that sounds like a bit they would pitch to us in that idea. Now it's going to get even more complicated, Mike, because I guess I have a little announcement for the audience.
It's about erotic fan fiction?
Yeah, it's about me and you. What do we've been sitting on that announcement for a while.
All right.
We have been a couple for 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And our wives don't know.
Technically, our relationship is longer than our wives' relationships. Maybe combined. Close.
First off, our relation, like, we have talked to each other way more than we've ever talked to our wives about anything significant. Like,
easily.
Times 50, No, but the Brennan family is expanding in the next 14 weeks, Mike.
Oh.
Now, I know you know that. In fact, we recorded.
Yeah, moving in.
Yeah. Now,
I'm sick of this long distance relationship. I need face-to-face contact.
Do you think we could live together?
I mean, I think so. I mean, like in our early days when you weren't dating your wife, I wasn't dating my wife. We'd learn it would just be just a text. You do anything? Nah, come over.
Sure.
It was just blink an eye and think nothing of it and all.
Yeah. What do you think I would do that would bother you if we lived together? Like, what would drive you crazy?
Oh, probably correct my English, but that's a given.
I mean, that's
like after the 10th
that's been
time,
going on for 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like being in the same household, and then it would just naturally slip out a little more than our usual hour-long podcast.
Yeah. Like, I think we were living together, and like someone didn't do the dishes and whatnot, and then you said,
and I say grains of maturity, and then you go, that's not a fight.
Yeah. You're like, you know what? You're worried about my grains of maturity, but you haven't washed the dishes in 3 weeks. Yeah, I think we definitely at one point of our lives could have lived together. I think
Yeah.
we probably would have benefited both of us if we would actually lived together for a little bit.
Mm.
But
What do
yes,
you? Well, the question back to you. What do you think I would make you snap on?
um, hmm. I'm trying to think. What would Burlou make me snap on? I think maybe I don't know. What is your cleanly level like as far as like keeping the house clean?
Like, if I'm with a stranger, I'm good. I'm not going to deny me and my wife together. We're not great, but if I'm at somebody's place, I'm like, I make sure I don't have a piece of lint on their carpet. So,
Yeah, I would say that would probably be an argument. Like,
mm,
and it's funny because I'm not the cleanest guy in the world, but I go through like these phases where like I go into like, and it only happened later in my life where like I go into like super clean modes where like I'm like, oh my God, look at my damn clothes. Like I can't take this anymore. And I go into a giant like cleaning streak. And it happens like once a month where I'm kind of like, all right, enough. You're being a slob. So like if you were being slobbingly, I would be like, eventually it might be an argument. I also think maybe if we were, I don't know. I actually can't think of that much I would flip out on you. I think maybe um
maybe Obi's voice too much.
yes, that's a good one. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good
Hello,
one.
Daddy.
Yeah, like if
You
you
had
were,
a bad day at work?
yeah, and like you're like you're such a nice guy. We're kind of similar in this way. Like you're very nice and you would like do things to please the other person. And like there's sometimes you would just want to be like completely left alone. And
Mm.
I think you appreciate alone time as much as I do. And I think
Hmm.
we would both like cross those boundaries sometimes. Like, hey buddy, you know, like gonna have a beer, blah, watch the game. I just got home from work. Leave me the fuck alone, you know, like
Yeah.
or I just want to watch the game. Like if we had one TV, that would cause like
Ooh,
yeah,
yeah. We would
yeah.
cross there.
Like if you're like, I want to watch wrestling, and I'm like, I want to watch like I don't know some stupid thing I want to watch. You know, I think that would be interesting. But I like that we I like
Mm.
that we got into how we would have a hetero relationship
Domestic
together
relationship.
instead of
And
the announcement that I'm having a kid in
yeah,
14 months.
yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
tune in next week where he
Yeah.
describes what it is and what he's doing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So yes, we are having a baby girl expected May
Ooh,
21st. We are far out of Michael's birthday, so there's no conspiracy this time.
damn it.
Um, very excited. I've been through a lot of crap on the way here to this journey, so it's pretty cool. So uh podcast will get even more interesting as I'm trying to raise two children and talk to Mike and
Hmm. So you're talking to three children at the same time.
talking to three children with the same amount of English ability, but
Can you say mama? Mamo.
reigns of maturity. Oh, he said his first words.
Those don't count. But
Yeah.
I know some of these questions we talked about in the unrecorded one. But for those of you who may not know, we made this announcement and we had the whole recording. But what kind of happened was, as Scott had issues with his equipment, he told me to record. And I didn't know when you hit record, it says you got to get permission from the person's Zoom meeting, which is Scott. You're supposed to go back in and turn it on again after they approve it. I just naturally assumed Scott said yes. Okay, we must be recording. So we chatted for an hour and a half, and
Yep.
it's like, all right, Burlou, send the file. Oh,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
but getting into it, as we know with the first one, you waited till Shay was born to get the gender.
Yep. Gender
Why?
and name. Yep.
Yep. Why this time you chose to find out the gender?
Okay. So this time, um, a little bit with like, family planning, kind of like if you have a bunch of boy stuff, if we're having another boy, we kind of have most of it, If we're having a girl, then it's like, okay, we don't have any girl stuff. I know that's controversial in 2024. Like they should wear the same stuff. Well, you know what? I still think boys are boys and girls are girls, Um, so just to have the stuff. The other thing is like we don't have like in our house we have to kind of plan how we're going to situate them. Like if they're two boys, they could share a room, no problem. Eventually, the baby's going to need her own space. So now we have to plan like our future as far as expanding the house a little bit or rearranging the house where they would both have their own space.
Okay, I got it. Put the baby on the deck.
No one puts baby on the deck.
But there's plenty of space out there. The baby can learn about the moon that's not real.
Sure.
Maybe it works out.
I mean, you're onto something there, but yeah, just more of like maybe this time we'll find out. Also, it was kind of like something different, so like maybe we'll find out this time. So,
what's the first feeling about being a daddy's girl?
I'm actually very excited. I was actually on Team Girl. I wanted a girl for several reasons. One, like just to experience the differences, like raising a boy and raising a girl. My son is he's amazing, but he's also a pain in the ass sometimes. He loves smashing and running and jumping and throwing and all that stuff, and to a point where you get frustrated and you're like, all right, enough.
Enough. That's my thing. Stop it.
Yeah. Enough smashing and throwing and running and
you left nothing for me.
Yeah. Those are my hobbies. So there's that, and I always just in my head would always just kind of wanted a girl too, and then there was also the intrigue of like if it was a boy, it would be really cool to have two brothers or brother and sister. I don't know. Like I guess the driving force was like just to experience both. I think it's going to be a really cool experience. It might drive me crazy over time. I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of stories here to tell. But girl dad, I'm also, it's funny because I think as men, we could sometimes focus singularly on like male issues and supporting female issues, right? We do it. We do it. Of course we do. Now it kind of strikes an even different chord, like when you think about like this is probably going way too deep, but when you think about like female rights in different states and what like I'm not moving to Ohio anytime soon. I'm not moving to Alabama anytime soon because I'm gonna have a girl. I'm gonna be a girl dad. Like, can you
Scott,
imagine?
you saying I'm not going to hang out with your daughter at Talladega?
That's true. Yeah. Maybe we'll come for a visit, but we ain't living there. That's for sure. Like healthcare wise, but the bigger picture, it does make you think.
All right. Just out of curiosity, Shay, what would you say looks percentage wise he is with you and your wife? Like 50-50, 70-30?
It's interesting because people do say like they see both of us. I see pictures of myself, and I think he's a spitting image in many ways. He has the same big old head. He has the same pale skin. He actually has my wife's skin because she's also a day walker like me, very pale. I would say 70-30 is fair. I think 70% me, but some people see differently. So
okay,
I go 70-30.
Now, with that math, how much are you looking to adjust for the baby girl? Will it be fine if it's 70-30 as is? Are you going 50-50, going a little more to the wife's end?
I'm hoping it's 70-30 the other way. I'm hoping she doesn't look like me because I feel like I just look like a big burly dude most of the time. Yeah. So it's just like,
we found that out in the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping it goes way the other way. Let's even go 80-20 the other way.
Gotcha.
Please, please.
And a 20 cannot be teeth, right?
No, teeth. I have a whole crazy story about teeth for the next episode, but yeah, like big head, big chin, big, I don't know, big features, underbite. I'm hoping it goes the other way for her.
On a side, have you seen Brock Lesnar's daughter?
Oh,
How much she looks identical to him, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, no, especially now.
Dad, all the teammates are asking if I want to see him pee. This is terrible.
It's funny because that guy's getting canceled and Vince McMahon's getting no press again. They're just like, yeah, you did bad things, but let's erase the records of Brock Lesnar.
He's like, I just wanted to see a girl pee. This guy covered up a rape and a murder. What the hell?
Yeah, let's not erase all the episodes of Vince McMahon from the catalog because that'd be
catastrophic.
Yeah, exactly. What 50% catalog? But,
it would be kind of nice to watch like an old episode of Raw and like Steve Austin is talking, you just see a sensor box over Vince's body.
Yeah, him just kicking like a black shadow. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I'm proud of you, man, and I know we've talked about before what you've been through, so I'm really happy for the whole family. But I'm not happy she can't hold on to it for another like 4 months. So if the prophecy could happen,
I haven't proposed the question yet, so maybe right around the 9-month mark, like when she's really really pregnant, I should be like, hey, can you hold it in for another 4 months?
Hear me out. Plug, like put the plug in, and just let it be. And then October 18th, like at the stroke of midnight, it'll be like opening a bottle of champagne.
Just comes out like a 2-year-old baby. Like, whoa.
Oh, the baby's in the chandelier. Damn it.
Yeah. But yes, very excited. And yeah, it's going to be another crazy couple years, but I think it will be well worth it. So,
and if not, then just put it up for adoption. It's all good.
I mean, that's the option we all have, right? Like, this ain't for me.
Yeah, you just go to the orphanage. It's like, we gave it 4 weeks. We're like, nah, we're a 1-kid family. And you're hanging on by a string there, Shay. I got to warn you, we'll make a second trip.
Yeah.
If you don't clean that room, I told you.
Yeah, like we could use that as instead. Like I put Shay in timeout sometimes.
Yeah.
Imagine going to the adoption box.
Oh, you'd have the most well-trained children of all time, petrified of everything in life, but they'll listen to you.
Yeah. Hey, looks like Shay's going to another family unless he cleans up his toys. No.
What's that? A B+ on that test? Oh. It looks like somebody's getting the nickname Annie, huh?
Yeah, someone's going to the adoption box where
Dad, I'm in college. I'm 23. Father has spoken. I will bring you there.
They just go into the box and like live cameras come on to all these services, like available. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, Mike, anything to promote before we go?
Well, again, I will say, since it's tomorrow, happy birthday to my wonderful, beautiful, lovely wife, Isabel. I love you to death. Oh. No, that's the 500th episode. Don't tell anybody. I will promote since she just recently got back into open mics and music. I'm so happy for her. Her first open mic is at the Sonoya Beer Company down in Sonoya, Georgia. It's literally right on the avenue where they did the tapings of The Walking Dead. It's a beautiful brewery. They actually have 2 breweries in the area. Sonoya is a building area. They have a lot of filming going on. So I'm not going to promote Sonoya Beer Company. I'm just going to promote Sonoya while I'm there. You know what?
Town, let's go.
Damn right. Go there. Take a visit. They're beautiful people, beautiful towns. Take the Walking Dead tour. And then I'll promote Georgia because that's a state.
And then after that, the United States. And then after that, white supremacy. Like, promote it all.
Yeah, but not the moon.
No. That's awesome. Now it's your turn to do your first open mic down there.
Maybe one of these days.
Get him back. That would be awesome.
It's here and there,
If
but
we ever get down there, that would be something I'd love to go do with you. Go do a mic together. But who knows? Maybe we can get Berlo out of retirement. Even just to do it once would be an interesting interesting story to tell. Like how you felt about doing it all these years later. But I guess I will just promote. I got nothing to promote. I'm going to promote ourselves. I'm going to actually when this week's episode comes out, I will promote once again my Polar Bear Plunge fundraiser for Special Olympics. Go to Frozen Clovers on the polarbearnj.org website. It is a fundraiser for Special Olympics. Me and my cousins are jumping in the Atlantic in 2 weeks when this episode comes out. In 1 week, all the money goes to a very good cause, so go check that out. So I want to thank Jason for coming on the show. One of the best last names ever, Goldwatch. For coming on the show. Go check his work out. We have a ton of stuff in the hopper, if you will, and a bunch of episodes coming up. But that's it, guys. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back.
every day, train to get more grains of maturity into your life.
I've always loved you, Mike.